So you've heard people throw around the word TFSA like it's some magical money vault the government hands you. You're still sitting there wondering, all right, what the hell is it? Don't worry. By the end of this, you're going to know exactly what a TFSA is, why it's one of the best damn tools in Canadian personal finance, and why you should probably have one, even if you think investing is just gambling for people in suits. It sounds like the kind of thing only accountants get excited about. But here's the truth. If you're living in Canada and you're not using a TFSA, you're basically walking past a pile of free money and saying, nah, I'm good. TFSA stands for tax free savings account. Now, if you've ever dealt with banks, you know savings account usually means a sad little box where your money earns like 0.1% interest, which is just enough to buy a gum wrapper if you wait for a year. But the TFSA is not that. In fact, they probably should have named it the government won't touch this money account because the big deal here is anything you earn inside it, no taxes. Zero. Zilch. Imagine you've got an angry little man from the CRA following you around, taking a cut of everything you make. The TFSA is like locking him outside in the rain while you eat steak and drink beer inside. Here's how it works. You put after tax money into a TFSA. That means you already paid income tax on it. So the government's had their fun. But once it's in there, any growth, interest, dividends, capital gains, it's all yours, tax free. You could double your money, triple it, hit some crazy Apple or Nvidia style moonshot and make 10 times your money, still tax free. And when you take the money out, no tax either. None. Sounds too good to be true? Yeah, it's good, but there are rules. Every Canadian over 18 gets a yearly contribution room. Think of it like a bucket that refills every January. If you don't use it, the unused room rolls forward forever. TFSA started in 2009, and if you were 18 or older back then and have never opened one, your total contribution room today is worth about $102,000, which means if you've never touched a TFSA, you could dump a small house deposit in there tomorrow and start growing it tax free. But here's the catch. If you turned 18 after 2009, your room only starts building from the year you turned 18. So if you just hit 18 last year, you can't magically claim all $102,000 of room. And if you move to Canada after 2009, your room starts from the year you became a resident for tax purposes. That's tax purposes, not permanent resident. So don't assume you've got the full tank. Check it first, or the CRA will be licking their chops waiting to fine you. Now, before you go stuffing TFSA with cash like you're hiding it from a divorce lawyer, you need to know there are penalties if you overcontribute. Put in more than your available room, and the CRA will happily charge you 1% penalty per month on the excess. Yes, per month. That's the financial equivalent of getting slapped in the face with a wet fish over and over until you fix it. You can log into my CRA account to see your official TFSA room, and it's worth checking, but here's the problem. It's not always up to date. Banks don't report contributions or withdrawals to the CRA instantly, so what you see online could be weeks or even months behind. If you're moving money around or have multiple accounts, you could accidentally over-contribute just by trusting that number. The safe move. Keep your own running total in a simple spreadsheet or notebook. Treat it like tracking how many beers you've had at a party. You can't just rely on someone else to tell you when you're cut off. Next myth I've got to kill. The TFSA is not just for savings. People think you can only keep cash in it. Wrong. You can hold almost any investment inside stocks, ETFs, bonds, GICs, even certain mutual funds. This is why it's so powerful. You could buy shares of a company, watch them grow for 20 years, and never give the government a cent of tax when you sell. Try doing that outside of TFSA. Good luck dodging capital gains tax. Now, here's the beauty for fire folks or financial independence retire early. Because you already paid tax on the money going in, you can take money out whenever you want for whatever you want without bumping yourself into a higher tax bracket. You want to take $50,000 out at age 45 to buy a van and go live in it? Go ahead. You want to drain it for a world trip? No tax bill. This is completely different from an RRSP, where withdrawals are fully taxed as income. And here's a fun little trick. If you take money out of your TFSA, you get that contribution room back, but not until the following calendar year. So if you withdraw, say, $20,000 in June, don't think you can just throw it back in the next week unless you still have some unused room. Wait until January and boom, the room is back. That means you can kind of recycle your TFSA space for big purchases if you're smart about the thing. Another advantage, TFSAs are perfect for high growth investments. If you've got something you think will absolutely explode in value, you want it in the TFSA. Why? Because that's the only legal way you can make a killing in Canada without the tax man sticking his hands in your pockets. If you stick boring low interest stuff in there, you're wasting the magic. Put the boring low growth stuff in your RSP, your taxable account. Let your TFSA be the home for your growth monsters. And don't forget, it's not just about you. You can give money to your spouse to contribute to their TFSA, effectively doubling your household's tax free growth. The government calls this income splitting, but in our world, it's called teamwork to make the taxman cry. One more thing people screw up. They think the TFSA is risk free just because it's called savings account. No, the safety depends on what you put it in. If you dump it all into some sketchy penny stock, your cousin's buddy recommended it, you can still lose it all. The TFSA just protects you from taxes, not stupidity. So to sum it up, the TFSA is your personal tax-free money-making machine. Use it to shelter your highest growth investments, keep track of your contribution room, and remember that withdrawals are tax-free and give you back room the following year. If you're serious about building wealth in Canada, not maxing out your TFSA is like going to an all-you-can-eat buffet and leaving after eating one bread roll. If you're broke, start small. Even a few $100 invested in something solid will grow, and every dollar of growth you protect now will save you from your taxes for the rest of your life. So go open a TFSA if you don't already have one. And for the love of all that is good, don't just let it sit in cash earning 0.5% while inflation eats it alive. This is your best weapon for building wealth in Canada. Sharpen it, use it, and make sure the government gets as little of your hard-earned money as possible. Internationally, there are some similar accounts that I'll go into in further videos. But here's a quick breakdown of what's similar. UK has the ISA, or the Individual Savings Account. Very similar, but Brits are tricked into the low-interest cash ISAs when they could be getting a stocks and shares ISA. The US is no TFSA, but they have the Roth IRA, tax-free withdrawals in retirement, but not as flexible for withdrawals along the way. Australia, the closest is superannuation, tax advantages but locked in until retirement. So yeah, that's a lot about TFSA. In next week's video, I'll go into RRSPs, and then the video after that, the following week, I'll go into FHSAs, and then I'll break them all down about which stocks ETFs are probably the most efficient to go into each one. As I said, TFSAs, you probably want high growth, RRSPs, you'll want low growth. Well, I'll go into that in a summary after the next 3 videos.